Bulls and 3 world championships await them for Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Semifinals. Orlando leading Chicago 3-2, but these Chicago Bulls still have a lot of talent and a lot of pride. They are at home on Madison Street, even though it's their new home. And Doug Collins, what is your feeling about the Bulls in this game here tonight?
They've got one thought: win tonight and push this to Game 7 on Sunday, and we'll take our chances. Bob, I think they're in a catch-22 situation, though. We've seen them at home a couple times come roaring out and jump on the Magic early. The Magic have stayed in the game, and the Bulls have faltered in the finish. They lose Game 3, they win Game 4, but I think they have to be very careful about how much energy they use early in this game.
Championship teams like the Detroit Pistons of the 80s, the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Chicago Bulls have a killer instinct when it gets to this time in a series in the semifinals. Do you feel that with Orlando?
I feel a growing Orlando team. Whether they have the killer instinct yet, I do not know, but I know that they are much more poised than what people gave them credit for. They win Game 1, down 1, 18 seconds to go with the Bulls having the ball. They win Game 3 here in the United Center after blowing a 10-point lead, withstanding a 19-3 run. They regather themselves, and they win here. Game 5, they play a very poor first half, are down 7, come out with a big third quarter, and win that game. So they've been shaken, but they've maintained their poise.
The Orlando Magic, talented. They're getting tested more and more. They have to play the 3-time world champion Chicago Bulls in the United Center. We'll be back for the tip-off and find out if the young Magic is ready right after this. Bob Neal, Doug Collins with you just moments before tip-off of Game 6, Eastern Semifinals, Orlando leading 3-2, our Microsoft starting matchups.
Well, Bob, this is the way they will start out tonight, but I think at some point tonight you're going to see B.J. Armstrong go to Dennis Scott, Pippen go down to Anderson, and Michael Jordan go to Hardaway, so that they don't have to double team the guards in the post. It'll take one less double team out, and I think will help the Chicago Bulls defensively. That's what we saw a lot in the regular season. We have not yet seen that in the first 5 games.
Craig Sager, the Orlando Magic were suffering from some head colds and flu in the game down there. What's the latest now?
Well, Bob, if you remember, it was Anfernee and Nick Anderson who had the flu on Tuesday. The bug has spread to Shaquille O'Neal. The team is traveling with 2 doctors, one for injuries and one for the flu. I talked to the doctor for the latter, Rick Baxley. He said that Shaq has been taking a lot of cold medicine and a lot of fluids. He did not participate in this morning's workout. Moments ago, he told me he feels fine. We'll watch early to see if he had a speedy recovery, or he's on the verge of a relapse.
Brian Hill, the young coach of the Orlando Magic, 0-3 in 94, 6-3 here in 95. I think he's developing quite a reputation for being able to handle a young, talented team. And Phil Jackson's already handled them with 3 world championships. NBA career leader in playoff wins at 72%, and he'd like to just get 1 here tonight at the United Center. Shaquille O'Neal came up big in game number 5. Shaquille struggled mightily in the first half, but when it came second half, he was dominant on the boards and scored when he had to. Michael Jordan has been playing well throughout the entire series, but the constant question is, we know Michael can play well. Can he get enough help from the rest of the Bulls? The officials for tonight's game: Mike Mathis, Jess Kersey, and Ronnie Nunn from the United Center. Dennis Scott, Nick Anderson, Anfernee Hardaway, Horace Grant, and Michael Jordan opens the game headed up in their matchup with Anfernee Hardaway. Shaquille O'Neal working alone on Luke Longley, misses the layup, and Michael Jordan is on the run. Oh my! In and out of there. Beautiful move. But it didn't go down for Michael Jordan.
Well, you can already see the Bulls have made the switch. They're going to try to take Hardaway out of the game. He's going to have to continue to be aggressive. He can make Michael use a lot of energy on both ends of the floor. He cannot lose that aggressiveness that he's had against BJ.
10 to shoot. Chicago ball. Horace Grant has been the MVP for these Orlando Magic. He said he expected the fans to be on him here in his former team, and he expected to hear the boos, but he said he was looking forward to game number 6. Pippen The Bulls open scoring first. Took 1 minute for either team to score.
Well, you can see when Chicago gets in trouble, they're going to get the ball in either Michael Jordan or Scottie Pippen's hands and let them create. Both of them play very well with their back to the baskets in the post. And, Bob, one of the things about Shaquille O'Neal, one of the things we need to really look for tonight, I thought in the second half of Game 5, he started bringing out the arsenal offensively that we saw during the regular season. He was not just finger rolling or looking for dunks. He shot some fadeaways. He shot some jump hooks. Let's see what he does tonight.
They call the Magic back. The 24-second clock did not start, so Mike Mathis stopped it and will put the ball back in play again. The reason for that stoppage in action, the Bulls have scored 2-0. We've played 1 minute and 15 seconds from the United Center.
Here's Hardaway posting. Michael will play him without the double team, and Hardaway can still get the shot. So that's a big play for Penny Hardaway to get his confidence playing against Michael Jordan.
And there's a turnover on the double team with Anderson and Hardaway. Anderson all the way to the hoop. Rebound, Scottie Pippen. DJ Armstrong came alive a little bit in game number 5, but was way off with that jumper.
Again, Anfernee Hardaway is the key to this team offensively. Getting off to a big start. 5 points, and I think very important for him to attack Michael Jordan and say, you know what, you can make this switch, but it's not going to change anything that I'm going to do.
This will be interesting to see the grit of Michael Jordan come up here with this obvious in-his-face attack of Anfernee Hardaway. Pippen misses the jumper. It's 5-2 Orlando. Crowd already out of the game early, with Chicago falling behind after the 2 Hardaway buckets.
Scottie Pippen again against Horace Grant. He's having to do a lot of double teaming. Feel like he's tiring at the game. And there's Shaq. A little bit of that offensive arsenal that we saw this season. A little fading jump shot.
And single coverage from Luke Longley. It's 7-2 Magic. But remember, the Bulls got off to this kind of start down there. The foul on Shaquille O'Neal. And then the Magic maintained their poise and came back and got the victory. Speaking of Shaquille, here's single coverage from Luke Longley.
A spinning shot in the lane, good footwork, fading jump shot. You can see his hands are so big, it almost just squirts out of his hand like a grape. No rotation, but Shaq gets the shot to go, and he also gets the personal foul on Scottie Pippen.
Only shooting 67% from the free throw line in this series, but Pippen has all the Chicago points at this point.
Scottie had a tough night at the line the other night, missed 4 critical free throws in that third period when the Bulls were starting to lose their lead.
7-4 Orlando. Orlando was down 2-0, scored 7 straight points until then. There's the double team on Hardaway. Scott's open. Well, that's what'll happen when you leave Dennis Scott open. That's a 3.
You heard the fans. They knew that the minute Dennis Scott got the ball and was that wide open, he has gotten his 3-point stroke back in the last 2 games.
Jordan. Luke Longley intercepted the pass that was intended for Kukoc on the other side. Bulls definitely out of sync. Definitely coming out here looking flat. Their backs are to the wall. They lose tonight. They go home. Dennis Scott with 2 threes back-to-back. 13-4 Orlando.
Well, Scottie Pippen that time on Dennis Scott got caught helping back into the post. Did not double team and did not get back to Dennis Scott. That was very soft defense.
Count the basket. And Scottie Pippen will go to the free throw line. The foul on Nick Anderson.
Excuse me, Bob. Little confusion that time on the little handoff that the Bulls like to run in their triangle offense. And Scottie turned the corner, got the little bump from Nick Anderson, the good concentration and the finish. So Scottie Pippen off to a big start here with the first 7 points.
Brian Hill said he did not want his team looking past this game. He hoped that they would concentrate on this and know that the way to win this series would be to win 6 here, not leave it up to Game 7 in Orlando. The lob into Shaquille O'Neal from Hardaway. The block from Pippen, who will be called for the personal foul. That's his first. And Shaquille O'Neal has had a problem with this eye, getting punched in the eye 2 or 3 times during the series. Looks like he's having some problem with it still.
Bob, watch what happens when Hardaway goes baseline. Shaq goes right to the front of the rim and they lob the ball. That's a set play. When teams force Anfernee Hardaway baseline, Shaq goes right to the front of the rim. They run the little lob, and there's no one that's going to stop that.
Nobody could stop him in the second half, particularly in game 5. 5 blocks, 4 assists, 22 rebounds. And after a terrible struggle in the first half, he came out big in the second half, got himself collected, and led his team to the victory. 15-7, Orlando, 8:25 to go, first quarter.
I don't see the frenzy in Chicago here early. I see them, it's almost like they're conserving energy right now. They know that they've got to be able to finish strong.
Luke Longley with the jumper. Orlando by 6. Jordan matched up with Anfernee. Hardaway didn't work out for the Bulls early. Hardaway came out with a quick 5 points on a 2 and a 3. Nick Anderson's turnaround jumper drops.
Boy, whatever Orlando's trying to do right now is working. They've gone to Anderson. They've gone to Scott for a couple threes. They've gone to Shaq. They've gone to Penny Hardaway. They're 6 of 8 from the floor.
Looking for Kukoc, who did not get off to a good start in Orlando. There's the drive and the bucket from Tony Kukoc. And that's something that you know if you've been watching this series. Kukoc either starts strong and plays well, or he does not play well at all. And Dennis Scott, speaking of starting strong, already has 8 points. 2 threes, and that short runner.
Well, you know what Dennis Scott's doing? He is looking to make that little medium-range jump shot now, realizing that B.J. Armstrong cannot defend his shot 6'2 versus 6'8.
Kukoc hits the 3. So Tony with the drive on the baseline and the three-pointer, and the Bulls are down 5.
Big sign there for Chicago. We've always talked about Kukoc gets a big start. Usually he plays well.
Pick and roll, Hardaway and Shaquille O'Neal over Michael.
My goodness.
That's another 3 for Anfernee Hardaway, and he has 8 points.
Boy, on the Hardaway was 7 for 29 from 3 going into this game in the playoffs.
He fell asleep on that play defensively, and B.J. Armstrong burned him.
Watch him, if he goes baseline, Shaq will go right to the front of the rim and look for the lob.
Hardaway gets around Jordan using Shaquille O'Neal's pick and Nick Anderson. And Orlando is now 5 of 5 from beyond the arc and have scored 25 points. Think of this, 25 points in less than half of the first quarter. Kukoc to Longley and back again. And the foul. The Bulls not playing badly, but Orlando on track for like a 50-point quarter.
You got to be careful, though, if you're Orlando. This could be fool's gold if you think you're going to win this game on the offense.
Orlando has hit 8 shots in a row. Chicago 6 in a row. We're less than halfway through the first quarter.
Well, Nick Anderson posting up against Tony Kukoc. Michael afraid to leave Anfernee Hardaway because he's hit a couple threes, so he gets single coverage. Nick Anderson scores. The Bulls are pushing this middle now, and they're forcing the next guy over to step in and plug, which is Tony Kukoc, which frees up Nick Anderson for an open 3. And then Tony Kukoc on the nice drive, and actually Horace Grant blocks this. He gets a piece of this, and it still goes in. So Tony Kukoc has come to life offensively. He follows that up with a 3, then a nice little give and go and a foul and a possible 3-point play. So Tony looking for his 8th point in the quarter.
Kukoc goes to the line. Tree Rollins steps in at the halfway point of the first quarter for Shaquille O'Neal, who is being stretched out on the sideline in front of the Orlando bench as though he's got either a hamstring, back spasms, or some kind of cramp. And we'll send Craig Sager to check on the condition of Shaquille O'Neal, who's been worked over right there in the upper left of your TV screen.
And you wonder why you want to finish this series tonight? You do not want this to go another game.
Look out, 3-on-1. Oh, big slam from Michael Jordan off the block shot on the other end, and the Bulls are down 4. Shaquille on the sideline. Craig, what have you got over there?
Well, Shaquille O'Neal has some pain in his lower back. They put some Flexol lubrication and they're rubbing it on his back right now. Possibly some effects of that flu bug we talked about earlier, but he expects to come back shortly.
So your problem you have right now is they will not guard Tree Rollins, Bob, so they're going to double off Tree Rollins. Luke Longley will come down strong. Michael Jordan with a great finish. That's vintage Michael Jordan with a tongue hanging out and the high finish in the dunk.
Looks like the statue outside the building. Anfernee Hardaway. That's the first 3-point miss for Orlando tonight, and the Bulls down only 4 after this 25-point blitzkrieg. Scottie Pippen down in the paint draws the foul. 5:15 to go in the first quarter.
One of the things about the Orlando Magic is normally they have 5 guys out on the floor that can score. So if you help off one of them, they'll make you pay for it. With Shaquille sitting down and Tree Rollins on the floor, they will not guard him. So they'll be playing 5-on-4 on the offensive end, and Luke Longley will be the roamer now. He'll go back and give help, and Tree Rollins has got to be active on that offensive board, maybe get a tip in or a putback.
Scottie Pippen, perfect from the line. He has 9 points, Kukoc 8, and that's 17. That's 2 more than they had in the entire game down in Orlando in Game 5. Scott, not a great ball handler. Horace Grant covered for that 18-footer this time. Bulls defense swarming everywhere. Pippen on Scott. What a shot from Dennis Scott in the face of Scottie Pippen. He has 3 triples already. Pippen back quickly to Burnham, and he goes down.
I think they're going to get a reach in before Scottie charged. Nick Anderson, Bob, when he gets hot, is as explosive from the perimeter as any player in the NBA. And you can see the beautiful follow through. That ball looked like it was off left, and somehow it crawled in. Now, Scottie got the foul after he was fouled, so the first foul takes precedence. Pippen will be back to the line shooting 2. Dennis Scott gets called for the foul.
Already Scottie Pippen 5 of 5 from the free throw line. That's his first miss here tonight. And Pippen and Kukoc off to a big start. When the Bulls win, Scottie plays well. When they lose, you see.
You look at this, though, 28% in the second half. A lot of people feel that's because he's asked to do so much on the defensive end with the double teams and playing Horace Grant in the post that he is tired at the end of ball games. He's off to a terrific start tonight.
10 points for Pippen. Dennis Scott has 11 with his 3 triples, and it's still a 4-point Orlando lead. Orlando's only scored 3 points here in the last 2 minutes after scoring 25 in less than 6.
Horace Grant post up against Michael Jordan.
Good defense by Michael. Longley runs it down. Bulls wanting to run on the open court. Pippen tried to hand it to Kukoc, out of bounds off Orlando. 17 on the shot clock, and Shaquille O'Neal is returning to the lineup for Tree Rollins.
What we're seeing from Chicago here early in this first quarter is selective running. When Pippen is getting the ball, Michael Jordan, if they see an opportunity to push it, if it's not there for them, they're using some clock, but their offense has come very easy for them tonight.
Kukoc misses the 3 off the front iron. Bulls down 4.
Dennis Scott's feeling it. BJ better be careful here. He's going to try to back him down and shoot the fadeaway jumper.
Open man is Nick Anderson, covered quickly by Pippen. They're not giving him those top of the circle shots here as they were in games earlier in the series. Rims out, O'Neal goes back with it, misses it again. Loose ball, Jordan, Pippen, and Armstrong. And Armstrong leaning in, gets the basket to fall. Orlando lead is cut to 2. Orlando had led by 9 at 25-16.
The game was so easy for Orlando early.
You made the point.
And Chicago's just sort of hanging in there right now, not really using a lot of energy defensively, and they're really matching them right now basket for basket.
Longley picks up his first personal here. Chicago on a 10-3 run until this foul is called on Longley.
Shaquille's going to miss this offensive rebound, and again, he looks like he tries to shoot it so quickly, bangs into Luke Longley, does not get the foul.
2-point Orlando lead. Horace Grant. See, they're covering him on that shot. That's where Horace has been killing the Bulls. Now he's open, and that's what happens. You're going to find that about 7 out of 10 times. He's shooting 70% from the floor in this series.
And actually, Michael Jordan got a hand in his face on that one.
Out of bounds, Chicago ball, 17 on the clock.
See, Horace has got great confidence right now. When you're in that kind of rhythm, as a defensive player, all you want to do is try to disrupt the timing. Maybe fake at him, get a hand up. Horace is not looking at anything but the front of the rim right now.
Magic up by 4. Pippen. But he's going to take that 2-man game here with a pick and roll with Luke Longley. Open man on the weak side is Tony Kukoc, and he's got 10. Jordan only 2. Both Pippen and Kukoc have scored 10 apiece and 4 assists already to Scottie Pippen.
Here comes a double team again. Horace cutting to the basket.
The no look, and Horace missed the lay-in. Longley with the grab, and we're going to jump it up underneath the Orlando basket.
Horace Grant made a great catch to get this and couldn't quite finish it with his left hand. Most of these shots have been going in. You see the double team and the cut. Tony Kukoc lets him get in front of him. Luckily, Horace misses the little shot. It'll be a jump ball when we come back.
One of the few shots Horace Grant has missed in this series. Doug, one of the keys to Orlando is this cutter, Horace Grant, whether he cuts or doesn't.
Okay, let's watch how they double team. They've moved Dennis Scott out here to enter the ball, so we stop it. B.J. Armstrong is not going to leave him. Here comes a double team, and Michael Jordan has to play two guys. And he can't quite get to Horace Grant on this possession. The next time down the floor, Horace dives to the basket and gets it, but misses the easy shot, so he's either diving or spotting, and the Bulls have to decide how they're going to cover that. That has really hurt them in this first 5 games.
Jump ball here, and Scottie Pippen put ice on his thumb while we had that timeout on the floor. Luke Longley wins the tip. Michael Jordan isolated on that side. Looked like he was going to take it to the hole. A chance for the Bulls to tie.
Tony Kukoc looking to isolate once again against Horace Grant. He's got off to a great start.
Longley open for the jumper, and this game is tied at 30, despite the fact that Orlando scored 25 points in less than 6 minutes and led by 9 at 25-16.
Shaquille O'Neal went back to double team. That's twice now Luke Longley has been able to hit the spot-up jump shot.
Shaquille O'Neal with 8 on the shot clock. Double team gets there late, and the foul will be called on Luke Longley. He's got the push on Shaquille. That'll be 2 on Luke.
I thought in the second half of Game 5 that Shaquille played with the passion and energy and emotion that I had not seen previously in this series. Tonight, I see a Shaquille O'Neal that looks like he is under the weather. He's got that glassy-eyed look.
Yeah.
He really hasn't got the sweat up yet. Has not been able to get into this game. They need him. He's their emotional leader. When he plays big and powerful, everybody feels like that they're a little bit tougher. And I think the same can be said with Michael Jordan for Chicago. Those guys emotionally charge up their team.
Shaquille O'Neal 3 out of 3 from the line. Started 0 for 4 in the game down in Orlando and came back and shot free throws better. Dennis Scott sits down and Brian Shaw comes in. Dennis Scott sits down with 11 points, including 3 triples.
I think it's going to be an interesting substitution because Phil Jackson's coming right in with Ron Harper. Normally we see Steve Kerr. Brian Shaw took advantage of Steve Kerr in Game 5. We might be seeing a little bit of a change in strategy here from Phil.
Harper a better defensive player and of course bigger. To Jordan in the paint. Michael has 4 points on the jam and on that finger roll, and the Bulls have their first lead since they led 2-0. 3 seconds on Orlando. Here's Michael Jordan working in the paint with some finesse.
Well, when Michael dives into the post from the weak side, he's an impossible cover because you really can't get your body on him. He's so quick and just slithers around that basket and then just explodes to the hoop with that left hand.
Chicago is shooting 75%. They're 12 of 16. Open man, Ron Harper. Not this time. Rebound, Kukoc.
And those hustle stats that we saw the other night in the fourth quarter, they came into play for Orlando. Tony wants to isolate against Shaquille.
Bad pass, almost picked off by Hardaway. 10 on the shot clock. Pippen. Shaquille with the defensive board. Bulls up 1. 5 boards for Shaquille O'Neal early in this game. Grant misses. Harper with the offside rebound.
Horace is not making that jump shot tonight. He's now 1 for 4.
Kukoc tough when he's on that left bank. Not this time. Shaw with the offside board.
I think Tony could have taken his time there. He had the height advantage on Nick Anderson. Here's a big player for them, Brian Shaw. No one back
Shaquille is
defensively.
down. B.J. open for the lay-in. The bullet pass from the strong right arm of Scottie Pippen. Chicago up by 3.
See, I really believe that Orlando came out in this game was so easy for them to get started. They have got to get a defensive intensity. Right now, this is strictly an offensive game, and they feel like that they'll be able to win this game if it's high scoring.
Horace Grant denied the baseline by Pippen. A long shot. Doesn't fall from Shaw. Out of bounds. Chicago ball. with 13.7 to go in the quarter. Doug, you said it at 25-16. The Orlando Magic led by 9. They called timeout. You said they ought to be careful. This could be fool's gold.
That's what happens. When things become easy for you, Bob, you don't play on the defensive end of the floor. And right now, Chicago looking at a 36-point first quarter.
Since they led 25-16, Orlando has been able to score only 6 points, and Chicago has knocked down 20. Look at that. In Game 5, combined 15 tonight, 20 from Pippen and Kukoc in quarter number 1, and it brought the crowd back into this game. Good view of the Chicago River and the Merchandise Mart. At one time, the second largest office building in the world. You see up there on the top of that screen. 67 points scored in the first quarter. Here are 2 of the Bulls.
Brian Shaw comes down, he shoots the quick shot, and then B.J. Armstrong just releases. You see Shaquille O'Neal falls down. No one covers the back court. Scotty again with the long pass. So the Bulls off to a flying start, shooting 67%, scoring 36 points. This is very reminiscent of Game 3 in here when Chicago came out flying and I think led 37-32 at the end of 1. I think the big difference is Chicago did not expend a lot of energy in that first half defensively. So I think that they played a very, very good first quarter from the standpoint of it was smooth. It wasn't a lot of energy expended.
Will Perdue in at center, Steve Kerr in at the guard, Michael Jordan rest. Ron Harper misses on the lob attempt. The play called, obviously, when the quarters were up. And that ball is out of bounds off Orlando. It will belong to Chicago. Opening moments, second quarter, 36-31 Chicago. And Scottie Pippen, who's going to inbound the ball, we talked about him icing his thumb. We understand he just had it jammed a bit. It is okay, is the report we get from the Bulls bench.
I'd say when you're as hot as he is, you don't ever put ice on your hand.
That's right.
Ever.
Pippen, 12 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists, so that's hot. By the way, for all you Braves fans, stay tuned after our game. We'll show you that Rockies-Atlanta Braves game in its entirety from Atlanta Fulton County Stadium.
Boy, Scotty wants the ball against Hardaway. He said, Tony, give me the ball.
That's why. And the foul.
Scotty is possessed right now.
That's 14 points, and he's about to score his 15th if he hits the free throw.
When he flashed across the lane, Tony looked at him and looked him off, and Scotty said, I want the ball. And he just turned with authority into the lane. Right now, Orlando not moving their feet at all on defense. Nick Anderson will be replaced by Anfernee. Now, in Game 5, when Brian Shaw was matched up against Steve Kerr, Brian Shaw really looked to penetrate. Let's see if Harper plays him or if Shaw is played by Kerr. If so, let's see if they go to Brian Shaw in his half court.
Shaw is played by Kerr. 13-1 Chicago run. Up by 8. They were down by 9. Anfernee Bouie defended by Pippen. Jump hook in the lane. Nice play by Anfernee Bouie.
Now, he could give them a lift off the bench. He's a high-energy guy. He can play 2 positions out on the floor.
There's Brian Shaw matched up against Kerr. Kukoc against Horace Grant. Traveling. Kukoc has done that several times in the series when he drives, when he's on the right side of the floor and drives to his right.
Tony says, now wait a second, I was the Michael Jordan in Europe. That worked over there. Give me that same kind of leeway here. They said, not yet. A couple more years.
Shaquille O'Neal against Will Perdue. Slams that 300 pounds in there and then hits the short jumper.
See, he's got to do more of that. He's not going to get to the front of the rim all the time against the Chicago team. He's got to trust that he can make that jump shot.
Scottie Pippen isolated again against Anfernee Hardaway. He's just going to battle until he gets the double team. He may shoot it anyway.
Boy, that almost went in.
So that was an accident.
That was a pass that was almost blocked into the basket.
Bulls up by 4 now as Orlando started to make a run back here with these substitutions. The lob in over Perdue to Shaquille O'Neal. And now it's a 2-point Bulls lead. O'Neal has 9 points.
This Magic team's got a lot of poise. They looks like that they're going to fall asleep on you, and they find a way to get themselves right back into the game.
6 straight points from Orlando.
Way off.
Rebound Perdue. Good offensive rebounder. His first bucket of the night. It's a 4-point Bulls lead. 9:56 to go in the second quarter.
Those are points that should not happen for Chicago. Shaquille O'Neal just going to block him off the boards.
Harper playing Hardaway. Kerr against Brian Shaw. He draws 3 people, travels. It'll be Chicago ball.
Let's take a look at Shaquille O'Neal right here. He's going to get eye contact. We'll stop it right here, and he's going to roll right out to an open side in the lob pass. This is a play that's called right at with just eye contact. You cannot let Shaquille roll off of you. You must keep him in front of you, make him make jump shots.
Horace Grant struggling a bit tonight, but no question he's been the Orlando MVP in this series. He has done everything. Added the maturity of a man who's won 3 championships. He shot 70% from the floor coming in here. Blocked shots when he needed to. Went to the rim for the offensive boards as well as anybody in the game, which he did, of course, in Chicago. And got the assist from Shaquille O'Neal. But tonight, he's off just a little bit.
Yes, he is. Horace is 1 for 4 from the floor, has 2 points, no rebounds. And Pippen and Kukoc, 25 points, 6 rebounds, and 8 assists combined.
Incredible performance from those two, and Pippen and Kukoc were the missing elements in the Bulls' loss in Game 5 down at Orlando. Chicago leading it by 4. We have 9:43 remaining in the first half, and Michael Jordan with only 4 points. He's only taken 3 shots. Is back on the floor.
The great thing about this sport, though, is if Horace doesn't have a great game, it'll, Horace, what happened tonight?
Right.
Why didn't you play well?
Bushler also in, wearing number 30 for Chicago. Bushler's got that good jump shot. This is at this time Jordan almost tipped it in, but Grant was there to bat the ball away.
See, that's a little intangible thing right there Horace did. He tipped it away from Michael to his own man. You have to watch this matchup now. Hardaway and Kerr. Michael's going to have to help him with a double.
Horace Grant open for that 18-footer. Air ball this time, but Brian Shaw gets away from Kerr and knocks it down. And that's the matchup you're talking about. Bulls by 2.
See, Steve Kerr at 6'2", Brian Shaw at 6'6". That's a matchup that they like to go to in Game 5. Pippen really active on the low post.
Drawing the double team. Open man is Kerr, who's going to drive and shoot. Kerr has been covered like a blanket by Orlando during this entire series.
That's a good call. They have really tagged him whenever he's on the floor and have not allowed him to shoot that 3 the last 3 ball games, especially make him put it on the floor and create his own shot.
There's the jump hook, and the rebound stolen by Hardaway from Michael Jordan.
Boy, Michael Jordan just didn't realize, I don't think, how well Anfernee Hardaway jumps. It looked like Michael had inside position, just exploded. And here's Steve Kerr. Look, run at him, force him to put it on the floor. The only thing is, if you're going to force him to drive, make him go left rather than to his strong hand right. And look at the last 3 games and the first 2 games. You think that when you scout people come playoff time, you don't start taking weapons away?
Anfernee Hardaway knocks down the first free throw. The foul was on Will Perdue. Anfernee Hardaway now with 9 points. At the conclusion of tonight's game, Doug and I will select the Budweiser player of the game. Chicago up by 2, 43-41, 8:27 to go in the first half.
Trying to figure out here who this game favors right now, the way the game is being played. It's such a high-scoring game. Can Chicago continue to match them basket for basket?
Jordan, the pull-up jumper. Will Perdue loses defensive position, and the man with the rebound, Shaquille O'Neal, who has 7. Tipped away, and a beautiful play by Scottie Pippen, and he saved it. Kerr to Jordan. Crowd waiting to explode. Chicago ball. Oh, Scottie Pippen with a great defensive play and then the extra effort on the save.
See, this is a play that Shaw and Hardaway run a lot, but Pippen read it all the way. It's like a safety in football, reading the eyes of the quarterback. He read it, picked it off. That's why he was first-team all-league defense and the leading vote getter by the coaches.
Pippen gives it up to Bushler, but first he's fouled. Scottie Pippen making a living at the line. The team foul situation, he won't go to the line on this one. Team fouls 3 on the Magic and 1 on the Chicago Bulls. Kerr off the curl. Will Perdue from 12 feet. He has 4. Will
Shaquille is really giving his team a lift when he comes in the game. He's looking for his offense. He's getting on the offensive boards. I think he's played very well in this series.
I think he's more comfortable coming off the bench. He'd rather start, but I think he's more comfortable playing off the bench.
Well, let Longley soften him up a little bit.
Ooh, speaking of soften him up, that stanchion will be vibrating for the next 5 minutes.
He had Scotty and Michael running at him. There's a travel
on Michael Jordan, who gave a little wink of the eye up to Mike Mathis with the call.
Look at Scotty and Michael go flying by Shaquille O'Neal. Let's hear the sound of this.
That's like saying, let's listen to that bomb explode. It's not a pretty sound. Bulls by 2. Anfernee Bowie. He's played well in this series. Remember, Donald Royal was the starter at forward, but Royal with a sore left ankle has really been left out of this series most of the time. The long rebound comes to Steve Kerr, who gets it to Jordan, who'll go to the line.
Why Anfernee Bowie instead of Donald Royal? Because Donald Royal cannot make a jump shot. The Bulls will not let him get to the basket. Anfernee Bowie will shoot the open shot. So come playoff time, maybe all those things you did in the regular season, teams are not going to let you get away with.
2 personal fouls on Shaquille O'Neal.
Well, we have a tie game at 45, 6:51 to go in the second quarter. And Bob, we talk about screen roll. Look at this play. You're going to see the screen roll, and here comes Shaw, and Steve Kerr is going to go underneath the screen. We'll stop it here, and we keep it going, and we stop it. Now watch, he's going to come all the way over and rotate over here, and Pippen and Michael Jordan try to come here, but way too late to stop Shaquille O'Neal. So they've tried to do everything they can. They pushed it baseline, they pushed it middle, they plugged it. They've now rotated the guy one man removed, but when you run it perfectly and you get to Shaquille that deep, you're not going to stop him. And there looks like Shaquille on the bench once again.
On TNT, opposite us, the Houston-Phoenix series on. Suns leading that one 3-2 also. Houston, they just won't die. That's all you can say about that team. They are incredible when they're faced with elimination. That'll be on TNT. A doubleheader over on TNT tonight, by the way. The San Antonio Lakers game will be on later. On TBS here, we have this game followed by the Braves and the Colorado Rockies. That game will be seen in its entirety. Look at the field goals for the quarter as Michael shoots a free throw. In 12 minutes, Michael has taken only 5 field goal attempts, way down from his series average.
I think Michael is trying to do whatever his team needs him to do on a particular night. The other night they needed all 39 of his points just to keep them in the game. Tonight Pippen very aggressive, so is Kukoc. B.J. Armstrong's gotten off to a good start, so Michael is picking and choosing his spots, hoping he can get the big finish.
Yeah, the big finish is the key there. By the way, Winnington comes in for Purdue, and Pippen is getting his first rest of the game.
Now look what Orlando has done here also. Horace Grant is now playing center against Bill Winnington. They felt like that Tree Rollins was not effective, so instead of coming back with him when Shaquille is resting, they're going with a smaller lineup now with Horace Grant as your center.
Yeah, Shaquille picked up that second foul. That foul's on Ron Harper just before we went away there, so he's on the bench with 2 personals. 6:39 to go in the first half. Bulls by 2 points. Shaquille looks like he's feeling badly. Head congestion, cold.
You can see those eyes. When you get that glassy eyes, we've all had that feeling before, Bob. A lot of times used after partying in college. Me, it's usually just being under the weather.
Thanks for the college line. Jordan, Harper. Michael Jordan just kind of playing in the rhythm of the game. And the Bulls up by 4.
See, now Royal wants to drive. He wants to get to the front of the rim, and the Bulls aren't going to give him that. That's why he's been ineffective in this series.
Michael Jordan now with Pippen on the bench, taking up some of the scoring slack. The bullet pass into Bushler, who couldn't handle it. He had a layup, but he had caught the ball.
Now, see, Bowie will shoot the jump shot. Now you want to know why he's playing?
Sure.
And Royal isn't?
A good example. You just saw it on the last 2 possessions.
That's why people are saying, why aren't you using Donald Royal, coach? He started. That's why.
Michael Jordan missing it. Run down by Bushler.
Harper wide open under the basket. They missed him.
5:38 to go in the half. Harper's going to take it right down to the front of the rim. Michael follows. Loose ball foul on Chicago. It'll be on Bill Winnington. No, on Michael Jordan.
Here's Royal going to the baseline. They give him about 6 feet on the drive, and he comes over. Michael gets a piece of that blocked shot. And you see what happened during the regular season, 9 points. This series, 1.2. They take your role players out of the game in playoffs. That's why your stars win games for you.
49-47 Chicago. Chance for Orlando to tie or better. This would be better. Anderson misses. Jordan with it. Keeping his balance, unbelievable. Michael said, I ran out of bounds and came back in to get it, and Jess Kersey says, no, that's a double dribble. Look that one up in your rule book, folks.
I think what they said is Michael went out of bounds and then came back in. Not a popular call in Chicago when you call something against the King.
Illegal defense called against Chicago. Look at this balance. I think he did step out of bounds, however.
Watch Michael here. Watch it, see if he goes out of bounds. Looks like,
stepped on it right
he
there.
stepped on the line. The replay, conclusive. Good call.
Guilty. 49-47 Chicago. 4:56 to go, first half. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Hardaway trying to drive on Jordan.
He could pull up and shoot the jump shot in the lane. He's big enough to do it.
And he did, and draws the foul.
See, you know what I like? I like that Anfernee Hardaway is making Michael Jordan this year play him. 2 years ago, I don't think he would have challenged Michael like this. Michael's still one of the better defensive players, but Hardaway has the ability to get in the lane and at 6'7", elevate over Michael Jordan.
He's outscored Michael 12-6 in this ball game and goes back to the line. Now, Tony Kukoc is in. Steve Kerr will sit out. So we have Kukoc, Wennington, Pippen, Michael, Jordan, and Ron Harper on the floor.
I think you're going to see big-time starters minutes for Chicago tonight. When guys get rests, I think it's going to be very short.
Ron Harper has been getting more and more minutes as this series has gone along, as B.J. Armstrong and Steve Kerr have struggled.
Well, if Harper could help them win this series, he would end up paying for his year.
Jordan misses. The follow by Will Wennington. Bulls back by 1. Wennington's first bucket.
Hardaway once again going into the post against Michael Jordan, trying to pick up that third foul. Stepping out now and isolating.
Off the side, Horace Grant runs down the loose ball. He'll try it again.
Boy, Hardaway's having a big night.
Anfernee Hardaway has 16. That's his third triple. Harper open with the pass from Pippen. Couldn't get it to fall. Jordan. Harper. Didn't miss that one. It's tied at 53.
See, Nick Anderson very careless with the ball coming out of there. The guy runs right in behind him and knocks it loose. Harper did not quit on the play.
3:43 to go in the half. Hardaway with 16. Air ball. Jordan out in front to Ron Harper. Pippen at the front of the rim. Harper takes it all the way, and Ron Harper starting to punish Orlando. Remember, Harper, one of the best, quickest, and most athletic guards in the league when he first came out of Miami of Ohio.
Now, this is a lineup I thought we'd see more of. Pippen, Jordan, and Harper on the floor together. So you really have three interchangeable players at that position. They can switch, and it will not get caught in any kind of mismatches in the low post.
Shaquille O'Neal coming back in the game. That's 2 fouls on Wennington. Bob Neal, Doug Collins with you, along with Craig Sager roaming the sidelines from the United Center. This is Game 6, Eastern Conference Semifinals between Orlando and Chicago. The Bulls up by 2 with 3:15 to go in the half. Orlando came storming out of the gate and led the Bulls 25-16, and then Chicago calmed down and has led most of the way since then. Luke Longley coming back in for Wennington. Longley has used 2 fouls. Wennington has used 2, and will Purdue 1 in the 3-headed center rotation for Chicago. Over on TNT, Houston leading Phoenix. Suns leading that series 3-2. And later tonight on TNT, across the way from us on TBS here, San Antonio plays at LA. So we've got all the playoff games for you tonight on the Turner Sports Networks.
How about those finishes the other night in San Antonio and in Phoenix? Houston goes 7 minutes without scoring in the 4th quarter and still wins the game.
Michael Jordan! Oh, vintage Michael Michael. The penetration, the spin, the finger roll. Another poster shot. Michael 3 for 8 from the floor tonight, has 8 points.
Hardaway on the isolation against Kukoc. We'll try to post up Shaquille O'Neal.
3 to shoot. And Shaquille is fouled. Let's go back to that Michael Jordan play in the paint.
Well, we would tellustrate this, but I don't have enough squiggly lines to do it. So here's Michael whirling dervish up over his shoulder, tongue out, shot it through Shaq's armpit. That was over the defender, under the armpit for 2.
Nothing but net.
Nothing but net.
Chicago up by 2.5 minutes to go in the first half. Coming up in 2.5 minutes, the Reebok halftime report. Ernie Johnson in our Atlanta studios with co-rookies of the year, Grant Hill and Jason Kidd, and already Grant's coach for the Pistons next year sitting beside me here. Not that nuts about him doing all this television appearance here.
My job is to do TV. He's supposed to be working out and get ready for next year. Jason can stay there for a while. Jason, stay there and rest for a couple months.
Grant, this is just the beginning. Believe me, I've worked with him for 6 years. Call me when you have the worries. I'll help you through the tough times with Doug. The Pistons next year, Doug Collins and Grant Hill, sharp young team. And this Sunday, the NBA draft lottery, and I want to give you a shillelagh, a clover leaf, anything I can give you.
Anything that can help, Bob.
You could pick anywhere from 1 to 29, depending on what happens.
Yeah, that's negative thinking. I'm thinking 1 to 8. That's.
We've seen Buzzy Bremen and his 1975 haircut during this entire series.
Now we're making this guy like a cult hero. Now Buzzy Bremen. Now we're going to get the perm's going to be back. And
not unless Shaquille hits the free throws. Chicago ball. Oh, it looked like Chicago ball. Jess Kersey asked for help, and Ronnie Nunn said, we'll have to jump it up.
Good hustle that time by Donald Royal, though. He did not give up on the shot. Scottie Pippen's going to jump, I think, against Donald Royal here. Royal is quick off his feet, but Scottie with those long arms. See if he'll tip the ball right back to Kukoc. Now, Luke Longley's got to be very careful. He cannot allow Tony Kukoc to step in. Dennis Scott to steal it. Ooh, like he almost did.
We're in stereo tonight, by the way. Don't forget, at the conclusion of our game, we'll be selecting the Budweiser player of the game. Dennis Scott almost stole it. But almost, what is it, close only counts in social dancing and horseshoes. 1 point lead for the Bulls, 2:20 to go, first half. Longley finds Armstrong, who's not been open for much opportunity tonight. 5 on the shot clock. There's the pick and roll. Longley has it stripped. 2 seconds on the shot clock. The ball will belong to Chicago. Michael Jordan on the bench.
See if the Bulls can maybe run Scottie Pippen off a quick screen here to get the shot. Is that our B.J. Armstrong? Oh,
there's Pippen. I say that's a shot. Nick Anderson and Donald Royal with a mix-up on the coverage. Both of them saying, I got him, you take him, and Pippen took it.
That's what happens when you switch so much. You start pointing who's got whom, and you get a lot of easy baskets.
Bulls by 3, under 2 minutes to go, first half. Shaquille against Longley. Active in the lane. Nice shot.
See, I like to see him make that move. That's an indefensible play.
Shaquille's 5 of 8.
That sets him up for that little up and under move then.
Hard to get a call on how this game's going in terms of momentum, Doug.
That's what I was thinking a while ago. I mean, it's high scoring. Does it favor Orlando? They have more firepower, but Chicago's at home, so you just don't know right now.
That foul will be on Ron Harper, and that's his second. And speaking of Scottie Pippen.
So they switched, and Nick Anderson says, no, I've got this guy. And no one got Scottie Pippen. And then Shaquille across the lane. You see Pippen was coming baseline on the double team. Shaquille sees it and swings to the middle of the floor where there is no help. See, the Bulls run 2 different kinds of double teams. They run Scottie Pippen at the baseline, and they try to turn Shaquille baseline and trap him Well, they double team down from the top. And Scotty is the center fielder. He makes that call, and Shaquille has to read that.
Look at Michael Jordan and Ron Harper here in the final minute, 17 in the first half. The game is tied at 59. Nick Anderson with a chance to give Orlando the lead, which he does. Orlando led 25-16 in the first quarter after only 6 minutes had been played. Pippen's leading all scorers with 17. Michael back in. He's fouled. Anfernee Hardaway picks up the personal, his second.
It's a tough play. Chicago runs a wing screen roll with Pippen and Kukoc. They have Michael on the weak side, and he dives right to the post. So watch it. See, Michael's on the weak side. They run the screen roll, and here comes Michael on the move. So when he's posting, he's not standing there. So you really have a tough time trying to get in front of him.
Michael Jordan missing the free throw there. But how about this? As you look at Shaquille and Michael Jordan on the cover of Sports Illustrated. For Michael, that's his 33rd appearance in SI on the cover. That ties him with Muhammad Ali for most appearances ever. And of course, Doug, where do you?
I'm only 31 behind him.
You're 31 behind him.
I think my career is over, so I think he can rest easily.
I don't know. Big ring on your finger in Detroit. That could be a cover. Magic by 1. Anderson. Jordan kept it alive and then came up with the extra effort, and that's something Michael's been doing a lot of in this series. Kukoc from Pippen leaning in.
Got to go strong with that one. You need a little finger roll. You got to push it and go strong.
Hardaway to Shaquille O'Neal. Back to Hardaway. He'll take the three. Hardaway makes the three, and Anfernee Hardaway has hit 4 and has 19 points.
He was 7 for 29 in the playoffs. That's what you know what they say about statistics, right?
22nd timeout called by Chicago. The Bulls down 4 now with 19.6. They had an opportunity for the lead. Tony Kukoc went weakly to the basket, and Scottie Pippen is in his face right now. Kukoc set down.
See, Tony is 6'11". Just power the ball up. He takes that little bounce to try to get his rhythm, and when he did, allowed Scott and Anderson to get a piece of the play. And then Hardaway said, Scotty, you going to give me that one? I'm going to take it. I'm hot tonight. This is my 4th three-point field goal of the game.
Orlando's hit 8 of 13 three-point attempts.
And in this series, they really were not shooting it that well. They were 26 for 80 for only 32%.
So a third of the ball that they've made in the 5 games of the series have been hit here tonight in the first half. Tomorrow night on TNT, we'll have the New York-Indiana series, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Ron Poole and Hubie Brown will have that ball game for you. Indiana leads in that series 3-2. How about the Knicks? It looked like it was all over. Indiana comes back with Reggie Miller, Byron Scott, and then with less than 5 seconds to go in the ball game, Patrick Ewing steps into the paint and hits the short jumper.
To eliminate the Knicks, Indiana's going to have to come with all their arsenal tomorrow night, because we know New York will not bow out easily. And I think as I watch Patrick Ewing play, this is such a proud player. And you can see that leg is really bothering him. But the Knicks are not going to go down easy. Indiana's going to have to knock them out. And the same can be said about the Magic and Chicago.
Yeah, it's still way too early to know who's going to be in the Eastern Conference Finals. Orlando, Indiana, Chicago, New York, who knows? Here, 4-point Orlando lead. They're hoping to close Chicago out here tonight.
And if Houston wins at home tonight and the Lakers win at home, we could be looking at 3 7-game series, possibly 4 7-game series come Saturday, Sunday on NBC.
We thought all year that it was going to be competitive in the playoffs. Nobody knew this competitive. Michael Jordan's lean in, doesn't roll. He's missed a lot of close-in shots tonight. That tight rim, you know, he doesn't like the rims here at the United Center, and Michael is 3 of 9.
If I'm not mistaken, though, he likes this end of the floor. It's the other end that he really doesn't like.
Wow.
Looks like Michael has a chance. Can he dunk this one? No. Royal comes over and gets in his way, and Michael takes his eyes off the target so he can avoid the charge. And sometimes that little distraction will force you to miss the shot.
Will Purdue sits down, and the Bulls go to a small lineup with 5.6 seconds to go in the half.
Now, this is a little thing that I think it'd be important. If the Magic can stop them here, they go in with a 4-point lead. I think that's a very positive thing for them. Chicago scores, they feel good about themselves being only down 2.
Armstrong's open. Clock ticking down. Armstrong with the run. It'll fall. Michael wisely kept his hand off of it. 0.2 of a second. That won't be enough time. And Chicago does get the bucket. Anfernee Hardaway, guarded one-on-one by Michael Jordan to start this game, shows you that he doesn't mind it at all. 4 triples, 19 points, and the Magic lead it by 2 at the half. The Orlando Magic up by 2 at the half, 63-61. Orlando had led 25-16 with less than half of the first quarter elapsed. Chicago came back and made a big run because nobody was playing much defense. And when you look at it, Doug, nobody's played a lot. This is on track to be 126-122 if it were to end here. I asked you right before we went to the break, do you see a trend? Do you have a feeling about what's happening here?
Well, I think that the high-scoring game favors Orlando, but I did not see Chicago use a lot of defensive energy. I think you're going to see them come out the third quarter, maybe do a little more trapping, up-tempo themselves defensively. They know this is the pivotal quarter after what happened in Game 5, but the numbers are sort of scary when you look at them for Chicago because Orlando's shooting lights out in every phase.
Here's the Budweiser game summary. Speaking of statistics, you see that Pippen and Kukoc have really stepped up, particularly Scottie Pippen. Kukoc kind of disappeared in the second quarter there, but tonight 27 between them in the first half. And you talked about the shooting there. The Magic at 55, Bulls 56. The Magic 8 of 13. Dennis Scott has knocked down 4 3-pointers in this ball game.
Scottie Pippen got off to a great start. I think more importantly, Bob, he got to the foul line 8 times and converted 7 of them in the first half. Had 5 assists, 17 points, and Penny Hardaway was terrific. He went right at Michael Jordan, forced Michael to play on both ends of the floor. Remember, they switched Michael over to play Hardaway, let B.J. Armstrong play against Dennis Scott. And then Michael with the beautiful move into the lane, the whirling dervish. This is vintage Michael Jordan over his shoulder. No look, tongue out. Michael Jordan did not have a great shooting half, 3 for 9, 2 for 4 from the foul line, but he had 6 defensive rebounds, was the most of both teams. He had 5 assists and 2 steals. And Horace Grant was the quiet man tonight after being sensational in Game 5.
The Bulls came out and changed their defensive rotations ever so slightly in this ball game, and it has changed around who's been playing well. They've been isolating and playing one-on-one coverage on Anfernee Hardaway. He's burned them for 19 points.
Remember now, the Bulls do not like to shoot at this basket, especially Michael Jordan. He has not had big shooting games down here through the playoffs. Let's watch what happens.
Well, he misses his first 3-point attempt. It goes the other end. He shakes his head in disgust. The Bulls down 2 will face the Orlando Magic. Orlando with Shaquille O'Neal, Anfernee Hardaway, Dennis Scott, Nick Anderson on the floor with Horace Grant. The Bulls starters, B.J. Armstrong and Michael Jordan, Kukoc, Longley, and Pippen.
Matchups are the same. You know, our stat guy, Marty Aronoff, made a great point here. He said, you know, since the halftime of Game 5, Shaq is playing much more under control and a better tempo, and I'd have to agree with that. He is really taking his time on the offensive end of the floor.
Bulls passing up open shots to get it to Kukoc, who takes it in and gets it off the right side, and it's a 2-point Orlando lead.
See, I think when you run at Tony Kukoc, you open up what he wants to do best, and that's drive. I think you have to close out on him with that left hand, sit on that left hand, and make him shoot the ball from the perimeter.
Shaquille O'Neal's jump hook falls down, and Shaquille, with 2 quick ones here, has 18 points in the game, 4-point Magic lead. Shaquille 7 of 10 shooting, too. The lob to Michael Jordan, and he missed it.
I'm telling you, he hates this end of the floor. He does not like it, and whether it's a mental block, I do not know. But we saw it in the Charlotte series, and we also saw it a little bit in this Orlando series in the first 2 games.
Well, we saw Orlando score 63 points in that hoop. We know it to go through. The turnaround baseline jumper missed by Shaquille, and the Bulls come back running. Into Kukoc, he draws the double team. Open man is Armstrong. And And he hits the three, B.J. Armstrong, and it's a one-point Orlando game. Armstrong has 11. B.J.'s 5 out of 6.
They need him, and they need him to play 30-plus minutes.
Scott sees the opening in the lane and makes him pay.
That's a tough shot. You get run off the three-pointer, that little floater in the lane. You have a tendency to want to stab it rather than shoot it.
3-point lead for Orlando. Opening moments, second half from the United Center. If the Bulls lose this, they go on vacation. Longley's jump hook will rattle home. He has 6.
See, I think Shaquille really has to focus in and not let Longley, Purdue, and Winnington score. When Shaq outscores and out-rebounds the 3 centers, Orlando wins.
Michael knocks it out of bounds. Orlando ball, 14 on the shot clock. We talk about that pivotal third quarter in Game 5. This is where Orlando clobbered Chicago. They were trailing by 7 at the half.
And really, they made it up in the first 5 minutes. They scored 20 points in the first 5 minutes. A lot like what happened to start the game tonight when Orlando got off to a great start. See if Horst can make that open jump shot.
Pippen ran at him and he banked it off the glass.
When you're hot, you're hot.
71-68. Orlando. 9:09 to go third quarter. B.J. Armstrong kept alive by Kukoc, but there's Horace Grant, almost stolen by B.J. Armstrong.
Nick Anderson's got to get involved offensively.
Dennis Scott rims it out there. He was open for the shot. Dennis has 15 already.
Nick Anderson only 2 for 5, and they need him to score other than just play defense against Michael Jordan. They need him to get the ball to the basket, do a little posting.
Armstrong isolated against Anfernee Hardaway. The lean in, wanted to foul, couldn't get it.
Now, the reason he didn't get that, Bob, is because he created the contact as an offensive player.
Horace Grant looking to lob into Shaquille, who missed the jam. Luke Longley had fallen. Pippen back quickly, stolen by Anfernee Hardaway. Dennis Scott wanted to pull up jumper. Knocked out of bounds by Kukoc. 20 on the shot clock.
Now, this is where Chicago has to be very careful when they get into this scrambling kind of game. This is not when they're at their best, and this is what the Magic thrives on. Shaquille's going to go right to the front of the rim when Longley falls. Almost a spectacular play. I think he thought he was going to come down on Luke Longley. Looked like he protected himself as he came down and missed the dunk.
Might have been a wise miss. Dennis Scott misses the 3. Longley keeps it alive for B.J. Armstrong. Neither team has been able to score the last 3 possessions. Longley inside to Pippen. Bad pass. We're going to get a jump ball with Pippen and Anderson. Longley was open from about 6 feet away and decided to bounce it inside to an already covered Scottie Pippen.
You know what you need to do? Just pull up and shoot that shot off the glass. Luke Longley's already made one, and then the great hustle by both Scottie Pippen and Nick Anderson. All those little hustle points count. We'll see who controls the jump ball.
Doug Collins, as you go to coach the Detroit Pistons, there's a man who likes the state of Michigan. You probably wouldn't mind if he's available, which he's not. Yeah. Juwan Howard.
Jimmy Lynam's watching right now, and he's saying he's going to spend about 10 more years in Washington, D.C. He had a great rookie year. And you know what? He finished his education up and graduated this year. I think what a special guy. Talk about young players who are doing the right things. Juwan Howard's one of those guys.
Yeah, I was thinking that as we were watching the halftime with Ernie, Jason Kidd, and Grant Hill, too. You look at those 3 players, all you hear about are the bad mouthers, and there's a few. But take those 3 players, and the league looks like it's in pretty good shape for the post-Jordan era.
Well, I think that, it's always the same in life. The people who are angry are the one that always talk, and the people who are happy just sort of go along. So,
all right, we have the jump ball when Pippen was tied up underneath with Anderson. 7:44 to go in the third quarter. Pippen down to Longley, to Michael Jordan, who'll take it strong to the hoop. Stolen by Hardaway. Back to Longley from Jordan. Bulls out of sync here in the third quarter, but so far they've been able to keep Orlando from exploding.
See, I think Nick Anderson's got to go at Kukoc. He can exploit that matchup.
Like that. Offside rebound comes down to Longley. B.J. out to Scottie Pippen, has Jordan and Kukoc on the break. Kukoc is fouled by Horace Grant.
Orlando personal foul, Horace Grant.
That's the second on Grant, who scored only 4 points in this game. And Kukoc will step to the line. He's 6 for 7. It's 6 out of 7 for the entire series. Tells you that Kukoc does not go to the hole enough.
And when he's going, he's avoiding fouls. And that's what you can't do. When you're 6'11" and you're as crafty as Tony Kukoc, you make people foul you. You do not avoid fouls.
Michael Jordan said in the Chicago papers today, if I can only find a way to motivate Tony Kukoc 2 games in a row, it'll be a whole different playoff story. Not just him, but Kukoc has 10 points in the first quarter, only 3 since then. This is what happens. He disappears. Shaquille, jump hook.
Great second effort.
Longley fouls him.
Great second effort. The big fella went up, missed it, came down, exploded right back to the basket. I'd like to see your big guys. What I like, too, is he's starting to get sweaty, and he's starting to get into this game. You know, Orlando quietly here with a 2-point lead with a chance to close Chicago out. I don't know if we've talked enough about that, Bob, but I mean, if Magic can do their job tonight, we're talking about the elimination of the Chicago Bulls.
19 points for Shaquille, 9 rebounds, and he's 5 of 7 from the line. You know, you have to ask this question, too. Yeah, Michael came back. Everybody thought the Bulls would win a championship. But my opinion is the Bulls wouldn't have got past Charlotte in the first round without it.
I agree, because I also think that Charlotte would have probably avoided playing Chicago had Michael not come back. So Alan Bristow and the Hornets probably very upset that Michael came back and ruined their season.
That's for sure. Michael with a quick move on the inside. However, he's missed a lot of them around the hoop. Only 3 of 12 in this game. See, what I see with Michael now, a lot of those shots used to be in front of the rim, get the foul, and Michael's sort of jackknifing those shots right now. He's still sensational, but you're seeing him miss a lot of those shots that he used to make. 8 on the shot clock. Anderson backing down off to Grant to Scott for 3. Dennis Scott knocks down his 4th three-pointer.
We'll see Phil Jackson very upset at Tony Kukoc because the rotation to take Horace Grant. You'd rather have Horace Grant take that shot rather than Dennis Scott. Michael with a turnover. Here's now Nick Anderson with the 3. Bulls better be very careful right here. Phil needs a timeout.
Well, I'll tell you, we talked about what happened in the 3rd period of Game 5 in Orlando. That's when Orlando came out and outscored Chicago 35-20, and they're on a 7-0 run here. Orlando's ties their biggest lead, 78-69.
We watch in slow motion here. Michael just leaves the shot short off the front of the rim. And the Magic capitalized with 2 threes. That's what happens here, Bob. The ball's going to go inside to Nick Anderson. He's going to back down. We stop it right here. Scotty's going to double team, and he's going to recover. Tony comes chasing over and leaves Dennis Scott wide open. This is what Phil Jackson was upset about. Scotty was going to cover back, and Tony missed the rotation. And Nick Anderson follows with a 3. And the Magic have a great chance to close this out tonight if they will just continue to take care of business here defensively.
Jordan for 3. That one goes down. Michael Jordan was 2 out of 3 in the first period and was 1 for 9 until he hit that triple. That's a big one.
Yes, that was a momentum shot, not only for the game, but for Michael Jordan. Even great players lose confidence in their shots.
11 points in the game for Michael Jordan. Leading scorer for the Bulls is Scottie Pippen with 17. Pippen running down. Excellent defense inside on Shaquille and Horace Grant. Kukoc.
See, Shaq left his feet and had no place to go. Michael's going to look like he's going to raise up for another one.
Runs down his own rebound, though, and takes it back hard and draws the foul on Shaquille O'Neal, and that's 3.
Shaquille O'Neal is first.
It's a big shot by Michael Jordan, spotting up from B.J. Armstrong and drilling the 3-pointer. And he misses the shot, and Nick Anderson does not check him off. Then Michael goes right to the front of the rim, jumps right in Shaq's chest, hits the foul, and hits the first free throw.
Michael 3 of 5 from the line tonight. He had not missed in 2 games until tonight. And the Bulls staving off an Orlando run here, pull back to within 4 after trailing by 9. 5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Full court pressure from Chicago.
That's how you use your timeouts, though, as a coach, though. You use them to stop runs.
Well handled by the Magic. Hardaway backboard. Jump ball as Shaquille O'Neal came flying out of the pile, and the Bulls fans at the United Center applauding the effort. Horace Grant may have injured his hand.
Hardaway misses.
Horace Grant looks like he'll be all right. The jump ball with Longley and Grant. Bulls down 4. Grant stole the tip from Longley.
The last possession, I thought Shaquille sort of reverted to what he did in the first half the other night. Quick with his shot around the basket. Now, in the screen roll, be careful with him swinging the basketball and somebody spotting up and shooting the 3.
Grant backing in Pippen. There's the double team.
A great find by Horace.
5 seconds to shoot. Hardaway back to Anderson with 3. He hits the 3.
So he's heating up now. I thought they needed him.
Poise.
Yes, and the clock was winding down, and Hardaway had it in the back of his mind that he could still make something happen.
You feel like that the momentum of the game is on the line right here.
That's a bad shot by Luke Longley. They don't need that one. Horace is really grimacing with his hand. And Bob, I know I keep talking about this, but this is why if you're a team in a position to close a team out, you want to do it because injuries can become such a factor come 7th game.
Longley bats it out of there. That gives Hardaway the chance for the shot. Kukoc comes down with the ball. He needs help. He picked up his dribble. He needs to look at basketball 101 on that one. Kukoc out of control. 81-74 Orlando.
See, if I'm Orlando, I'm pushing the tempo right now. The game is scattered, and if they get in the open court, they're going to get some open shots.
They like the scattered game.
And it also allows Shaq to post up without the Bulls being able to go back and double team. Like that, he's got single coverage.
Right there, Kukoc picks it. Bulls have the numbers here. 3 on 2. Pippen pulls up for the 3. Very big shot from Scottie Pippen, who now has 20 points in the game. That brought the crowd back. With 3:05 in the third, the Bulls have pulled to within 4. Well, they're happy in Chicago Stadium at the moment because the Bulls have avoided getting mauled by Orlando here in this pivotal third quarter. We talked about Horace Grant possibly injuring his hand in this pile-up under the basket, Doug. Let's watch and see if we can find out what happened. It may be that move there when his hand is jammed against the bottom of the backboard.
Well, he did. Then he went down into a pile, and we don't know if it happened maybe down in there also. But it looked like he was holding his hand. I think he might have hit it up on the rim.
And Horace Grant went out of the game, and they're looking at it over there. It's his left finger, and he's in some severe pain with it. Maybe dislocation, sprained, you don't know what. But he left the floor to go into the locker room to get attention to it. Horace Grant has struggled tonight, but when it comes down to crunch time, which is certainly what this is, Horace Grant is a necessary element for the Orlando Magic. It may be dislocated.
Let's look at the left little finger. Looks like he gets it on the backboard right there, or the rim, and I think that's where maybe he might have, I don't want to say dislocated it or done something to it, but for Horace to leave the floor, that's serious problems, because now you come in with Jeff Turner. You lose a defensive thrust. You get maybe a better perimeter shooter, but Horace, to me, is a lot like Charles Oakley to the New York Knicks. He's really the heart and soul of what they want to do defensively, and they're going to have to really suck it up right now if Horace can't come back.
And Bushler comes in for Chicago. 4-point Orlando lead. We hear from the Orlando bench that it is a dislocation. They'll try to pop it back in the socket. You'll see whether he can play with the pain or not. It'll be very painful.
I'll tell you when it's going to
shoot for Orlando.
I'll tell you when it's going to be painful tomorrow.
Pippen with the rebound. Jordan inside to Pippen. Fouled by Nick Anderson.
Scottie Pippen is the difference right now for Chicago. He's energized this team. This is a guy who all season long led this team in 7 statistical categories. He's been quiet the last couple games, but I think it's his energy that could push this team over the top tonight.
if he can hit some free throws. Phoenix, Houston at halftime. Phoenix up by 3 over on TNT. And on TNT after that game tonight, San Antonio and the LA Lakers on TNT. Spurs leading in that series. After this game here on TBS, we'll have the Braves-Rockies game in its entirety. Pippen only 3 of 8 from the line tonight. Big misses.
Let's talk about fresh legs, too, as we see Anfernee Hardaway with a turnover.
Jordan with the steal. The finger roll goes down. They're on their feet. Bulls within 2.
Michael and Scotty have played the entire quarter. I don't know whether Phil's going to be able to rest them this half. It could be a factor coming down, playing against the Magic, who are younger players.
Let's check with Craig Sager on the latest on Horace Grant. Craig?
Well, Bob, I just left the locker room, and it is a dislocated finger. The little finger on the left hand, they are popping it back into place. They expect him to be back to start the 4th quarter.
Michael Jordan just picked up the 3rd personal there and goes out of the game for the Chicago Bulls. Thank you, Craig Sager, for that update on Horace Grant in the locker room for Orlando. And Shaquille O'Neal, Doug, has missed his last 7 field goal attempts, despite the fact Shaquille has 19 in the game.
But now Michael is resting, and Pete Myers is in the ball game. B.J. Armstrong will sit down, so Scottie Pippen will hold together this second unit a lot like he did a few years ago. Michael will get a rest. Jeff Turner will hit some outside shots. Remember, that's what he can do.
He's an excellent shooter. 83-79, Orlando by 4. Pippen thought about the 3 there. Looking for Harper down on the baseline.
Let's keep our eye on what happens with the Bulls with Michael resting. Remember, in Game 3 here, they went on a 14-1 run led by Pippen and B.J. Armstrong.
Luke Longley pounds it inside. It's stripped away. Shaquille can't save it. Chicago ball. O'Neal hit the floor hard.
See, that's one of the things I don't like about this arena. There's no place for the players to run off. It's an enclosed area, and there's absolutely no place for them to go. And this, I think, players get hurt.
He looks to be okay here, but how about the fan he fell on? 303 pounds of Shaquille. Watch this coming at you. My name is Shaquille, and you are?
I want to sign that guy as a free agent. He stepped right in there and took the charge.
You're looking for talent every moment.
He'll bring some toughness to our team.
Harper with trouble on the floor with the ball. Gets it to go down anyway, and Ron Harper has 8 points. That's the most he has in this series, in the playoffs for that matter. And Orlando now leads by 2. What a ball game we're seeing. The Bulls trying to stave off elimination at the United Center, trailing 3 games to 2 and down 2 here at the closing moments of the 3rd quarter. Intercepted by Longley. Bulls with a chance to tie. Pippen! It's tied! A 9-2 Chicago run. 10 on the shot clock. 7. Scott. Rebound Myers. The 3rd quarter was disaster for Chicago and Orlando. It looked like it could happen here again as Orlando went up by 9, but the Bulls have battled back. Jordan on the bench.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, Bob. He's getting a rest, and again, Scottie Pippen. Oh, look at Shaq with a steal.
Look at him handle it in the court.
Oh, my goodness, Shaquille O'Neal, what an athlete. Are you kidding me?
I still can't quite believe that. He didn't have any problem at all with the steal, the open court dribbling. Scottie Pippen kind of made a play on the ball as though it would have mattered at all.
He's saying, Coach, I told you I can play guard. Let me play out on the floor. Woo! Big stop here for Orlando. Can they get the stop?
Yes.
2 block shots there.
And this play by Shaquille O'Neal is one for your highlight reels. 7'1", 303 pounds, punches it loose like a guard, handles with both hands in the open court.
That's good coaching.
Shaq O'Neal with 21 points. Craig Sager.
Well, nobody had a better view of that dunk than Philip Harrison, his father, sitting right here in the front row. Nice move by the big guy.
It was a great move, just like his mother taught him.
What do you think about this fourth quarter? Does he look healthy? I know he's bothered by the flu.
They're ready to play. Just keep playing team basketball and they'll win. Keep on playing hard, good defense, and they'll win.
Orlando will win.
Yes, they will.
Okay, thank you very much. Back to you, Bob.
There's the man Shaquille O'Neal credits with teaching him to have integrity and character and the heart to play when adversity strikes.
Let's look here now. Remember Chicago, great start, 36, then down to 25, then down to 22. It's become a defensive game. Who's going to win the fourth quarter?
Tree Rollins in for Shaquille O'Neal. Jeff Turner playing for Horace Grant. Horace Grant went into the locker room to have his dislocated finger attended to. Has not returned to the bench yet. So Horace Grant not available for action yet for Orlando. We don't know whether he'll be able to play in this final 12 minutes.
Michael Jordan back on the floor. Pippen will get a rest. How much time can they buy with Scottie Pippen sitting down? He used an awful lot of energy in that third quarter to help bring his team back.
Ron Harper defending Dennis Scott, trying to back down the shorter Harper. The jump hook in the lane, and Dennis Scott's tough when he gets into the paint. Dennis has 20.
Well, he's been the X factor. Remember, we said in Game 5, and he had a big night with 22. Tonight, he's 7 for 11 with 20 points.
Ron Harper. Scottie Pippen getting a rest. Bulls down by 4. 5 to shoot. Jordan's going to drive past Scott and is fouled by Tree Rollins. He'll go to the line. Bob Neal, Doug Collins with you from the United Center. 11 minutes, 19 seconds left in Chicago's season unless they make up the 4-point deficit and win Game 6. They are down 3 games to 2 to the #1 seed in the East, the Orlando Magic.
Now, one of the things we talk about is free throw shooting, and I'll tell you why it's going to be important in this fourth quarter. Because Chicago wants to keep this game stopped. And by doing that, by getting to the free throw line, they can keep the tempo where they want it. So for Orlando, they do not want to commit a lot of early fouls. Tree Rollins that time put his arms out over the top of Michael Jordan to get the foul.
Quickly, Craig Sager, Horace Grant update.
They put the finger back in place, so it's dislocated, but he has not come out yet because they're taking x-rays. X-rays of the little finger on his left hand. He still hopes to be back soon, though.
Thanks, Craig. 10 on the shot clock. Dennis Scott pushed away from the rim. Anfernee Hardaway can't find it. Scott has to shoot with 3 left. Rebound, Judd Bushler. Chance for the Bulls to tie. Bulls with Wennington, Harper, Kerr, Jordan, and Bushler. All subs except for Michael. Kerr misses badly. He's been out of sync since Orlando's been in his face most of this series after shooting 50% from the floor during the regular season.
Well, they're forcing him to take hurried shots out of his rhythm. Now, Anthony Bowie's in the ball game instead of Brian Shaw. They've chosen to go to him, and he's matched up against Steve Kerr. So he has the ability to maybe take Kerr off the drive. We'll have to watch that matchup, too. It's a little chess game now. Coach is making a little bit different substitutions than he did in Game 5.
Inbounded to Dennis Scott, 10 on the shot clock for the Magic. Jordan trying to stop the bigger, stronger Scott, and he does with a blocked shot. Bulls with another opportunity to tie.
See, Tree Rollins now playing against Kerr. Unfortunately, they were able to get the switch back where they wanted it.
Michael Jordan has 4 blocks in this game. Ron Harper has it blocked. Here's Hardaway. Bulls have missed 3 opportunities to tie this game. 10 minutes remaining in the game.
Is that 100-point mark going to be significant tonight? Normally it's been Magic get up to 100, they win. 95 and under, it's been the Bulls.
Hardaway loses the dribble, but kicks it out here anyway to Dennis Scott, who missed it, and now we have a foul on Orlando. Timeout on the floor from the United Center.
The Bulls personal foul, Bill Wennington.
9:46 to go in this game. The Dutch boy in the paint. You see that Shaq playing the Bulls center by committee. Rebounding. The Bulls have a 2-rebound edge. And This game could come down to the battle of the fingers. Will it be the injured thumb of Scottie Pippen, who's icing it on the sideline during the timeout, or the dislocated pinky finger of Horace Grant? Horace Grant is in the locker room in Orlando. They're putting his dislocated finger back in, but they also had to take x-rays. So here we are, Doug Collins. Both teams have committed one team foul. 9:46 to go. Orlando by 2. The foul was on Bill Whittington, his third, as we went away.
Well, if Orlando wins, they will ride in on Penny Hardaway, Dennis Scott shooting, and the play of Shaquille O'Neal around the post. If Chicago wins, it'll be Pippen, Jordan, and who else will step forward on the perimeter maybe to give them an outside shot, maybe a B.J. Armstrong.
Anthony Bowie on the drive. Gets the rattle to fall home, and the Oklahoma youngster knocks it down. He's 4 of 4 from the floor tonight.
So he's playing Michael Jordan, which frees Hardaway to play up against Kerr, so he can rest a little bit as long as he does not let Kerr spot up for that open three.
Trying to post Jordan now against Bowie.
Bowie's given him big minutes tonight and played very well.
Jordan on the drive. The foul was called on Bowie for a hand check before the drive. Here's our Visa leaderboard, the All-NBA first team. 2 of the players in this game tonight.
And had Michael Jordan played all year, you would have seen his name up there. We would have had 3 of them.
Jordan backing in on the post. The fadeaway on the baseline goes down. Magic by 2. Michael has 19. Michael Jordan is 3 of 7 in this half on this basket. Isolated one-on-one with Penny Hardaway. The younger, taller, fresher Penny Hardaway.
Shaquille's got to take his time in the post, find the open man.
That was Anthony Bowie. Stripped away by Bushler. Controlled by Steve Kerr. Bulls with a chance to tie. Jordan. Bushler. Michael tips it in. It's tied. Brian Hill won an offensive basket interference. He does not get the call. They're on their feet at the United Center.
Will be the judge. Slow motion. Michael Jordan with his great leaping ability.
Tied at 89. Michael Jordan has all 6 of Chicago's points this quarter, and Horace Grant coming out of the locker room. He got his hand injured, the left hand, when it's jammed by Scottie Pippen against the rim and the bottom of the backboard, and you see the finger wrapping. That is a dislocated hand for Horace Grant. He's back with 8:30 to go, and this game tied at 89 apiece.
That will be a major factor for Horace Grant. Although it's not on his shooting hand, you must rebound, you must defend, and you must be able to comfortably get that shot in a shooting position. They need Horace Grant, more importantly, for his defense and rebounding, and this place is as loud as I've ever heard it right now.
Scottie Pippen back in the ball game. Jordan, Bushler, Kerr, Longley, and Pippen on the floor for Chicago. Anderson, Hardaway, Bowie, Grant, and Shaquille. Let's see how Horace Grant's hand works. Remember the dislocated left hand.
Let's see if Orlando will want this game as badly as Chicago. Remember, Chicago facing elimination.
5 seconds to shoot. Nick Anderson with 1. That beat the buzzer. Loose ball foul is going to be on Jud Bushler.
There's Horace Grant's presence inside, though. He was on the offensive board, so that will not show up on the stat sheet, but will give his team a new possession, 24 more seconds, and will give a personal foul on the Chicago Bulls.
Both teams with 2 team fouls. Phoenix and Houston locked in a tight one over on TNT. Suns leading that series 3-2. We need 2 televisions tonight, no question about it. Look at Bushler! He grabbed the pass from Hardaway and is fouled hard. It'll be 2, and on the side, a flagrant call on Hardaway. Big play here. If Bushler knocks down the free throws and the Bulls score, it could be a 4-point steal.
These are how things change in a game. Now, Penny Hardaway did not want to hurt Bushler. The play was a hard foul, which is called a flagrant foul. Penny Hardaway immediately went over to Bushler and said, "Are you okay?" But these are the hustle plays. You see him go hard, and Bushler was laid out there. He could not come down without crashing into the basket.
This is only the 4th free throw of the entire series for Bushler. He does not get down. Bulls have taken their first lead since the Bulls led 59-58 late in the second quarter.
How long will Dennis Scott remain on the bench? Anthony Bowie on the floor guarding Michael Jordan.
Jordan posted against Bowie.
Michael's looking pretty frisky here right now to finish this game.
Hand check foul on Anthony Bowie, and that's 4 team fouls now on the Magic. After their next foul, the Bulls will be in the penalty with 7:40 to go. A reminder, the entire Rockies and Braves game will be seen following this Bulls Magic game.
Now also, too, remember, all the whistles are stopping plays. It's allowing the Bulls to use their...
Michael doesn't get it to fall, but he draws the foul, and now, with 7:32 to go, Orlando over the limit. This will be significant.
Bob, what I said a while ago, I hope I was clear with it. The game is on the line right now. Chicago knows they lose. They have no other games to go to. Orlando in the back of their mind knows that there is a game. If they play that way, they'll lose.
Michael Jordan missing the free throw. Only 6 of 9 from the line. You might call it a nail biter. Michael knocks this one down. It's 91-89 Chicago. Jordan has 22 points. That foul, by the way, was on Shaquille O'Neal, which was his 4th. And that's significant. Anderson missing. Pippen, big rebound. Oh, look at this! Shaquille behind the back to Horace Grant, who'll go to the line. My, oh my, oh my.
Boy, the Bulls very upset. They thought Scottie Pippen was fouled on a loose ball play.
Shaq's dad showing the people in his section how his baby boy did it.
Look at the behind-the-back wraparound. We've seen all Shaq's arsenal tonight. And what, we got a technical?
Technical is on Scottie Pippen.
This could be a turnaround also if Anthony Bowie can make this free throw, which he does. Horace Grant will have 2 free throws, so the Magic can take the lead on this possession.
Wow. Bulls with 3 team fouls, so they still have 1 to give.
Say Anthony Bowie's given the Magic very good minutes off the bench.
Take a look at this.
Look at Shaq. Does he know this is the 6th game of the Eastern Conference Semifinals and not the LSU blue-gold scrimmage?
Maybe it's just as well that he plays that way. Horace Grant with his dislocated finger knocks that down. It's tied at 91. Tony Kukoc comes back into the game, as does Dennis Scott for Orlando. Bushler sits down for Chicago. Orlando shooting the free throws well tonight. That's 81%. And Chicago has missed 8 free throws.
I think you're going to see Chicago ride Michael Jordan in the post here for the next few minutes to see what the Orlando Magic are going to do defensively. As Hardaway, keep your eye on Jordan, either a screen roll or running him into the post.
And remember, Shaquille carrying 4 personal fouls with 7 minutes to go. There's Jordan in the post if they can get him the ball. Illegal defense is the call against Orlando with 8 on the shot clock. Failing the Bulls out, and that's just a warning. It'll be sidelined out of bounds with a new shot clock. Magic up by 1, 6:58 remaining in this game, and what would be the season for the Bulls unless they can win it here at the United Center.
Now, what the Bulls can't do is stand around and watch Michael play these last 7 minutes. Scottie's got to be very active also. He had a great 3rd quarter.
Jordan to Scottie Pippen, who knocks down the jumper, and that puts the Bulls back in the lead. Scottie Pippen with 24.
Sometimes you expect Michael to bail you out on everything. Everybody's got to be ready at all time. This will be a team win if they can win the game.
Anfernee Hardaway had to call timeout. He calls his team over and said, I had no help. I had to call the timeout. Brian Hill will try to keep the poise of Orlando in place. They're saying it's a 20. Now they're saying it is a 20. And so we'll stay here with the Bulls leading it by 1, 6:39 to go. Orlando already in the penalty. The Bulls have committed 3 team fouls. Horace Grant back after missing much of the latter part of the third quarter and early fourth with a dislocated finger on his left hand. Has it taped up, relocated, if that's what you want to call it, and is back in the ball game.
Does that mean they found it or put it back in place?
Both. Phoenix, Houston. Houston out in front trying to stave off their elimination. And on TNT, following that game, we'll have San Antonio and the LA Lakers with the Spurs leading in the series 3-2. That's later tonight on TNT. Here on TBS, later, we will have the entirety of the Colorado Rockies game with the Atlanta Braves. Jordan with the steal and the jam. Bulls by 3. 9 points in the quarter for Michael Jordan.
Orlando must take care of the basketball. They cannot turn it over. This is what the Bulls will feed off of. Their defense really picking up right now.
Hardaway has no points in this quarter as he misses the long jumper, and the foul is going to be loose ball on Orlando on Horace Grant.
We see Horace Grant with a careless pass. Michael Jordan in the passing lane. And watch Scottie Pippen. He gets in the way of Horace Grant so he cannot get down the floor.
So Scottie Pippen will go to the free throw line with 6:04 to go in the game, and the Bulls up by 3. Pippen has struggled from the line tonight. 8 of 11, but Red Auerbach told me when I first met the old gentleman of basketball that it's what you shoot in the final moments, not your overall stats. Jordan rests with 6:04 to go, and the Bulls up 4, and Harper gives him a rest.
Maybe a couple minutes, but Michael will be back real soon. You know that. He looked like he's really fatigued after giving him a real spurt here to give them a 5-point lead.
Hardaway has not scored, the man Jordan was defending. And it's another turnover.
That's an unforced error, a careless play by Anfernee Hardaway, and turnovers really starting to mount up for the Magic. They had only turned it over 10 times at the end of the third quarter, and in this quarter they've got at least 4 or 5 already.
97-92 Chicago, 6 minutes to go. Kerr with a jumper. But an offensive foul on Luke Longley. Wave off the bucket. Give it to Orlando. Down by 5. That would have been a 7-point margin.
Now, we've talked about Orlando. In this series, they've been shaken, but they've never lost their poise. Right now, they're shaking. They've got to maintain that poise.
Trying to post up Hardaway against Harper, who got the steal. Ron Harper, who has made his presence felt in this series. Longley, by the way, with 5 personals. He'll come off the floor in a moment for Chicago.
See, Orlando's not even getting any shots at the basket right now. See, I think this is a great timeout by Phil Jackson because it allows Michael Jordan to keep resting. Maybe you can bring him back in on this possession.
5.5 minutes to go in the game. Chicago up by 5. Chicago with the timeout. Orlando showing a loss of poise here in the fourth quarter.
Well, you see Anfernee Hardaway with the unforced error. That's 1 turnover. You see Ron Harper wrap around from behind, gets another steal. In 6.5 minutes this quarter, the Magic are 2 for 8 from the field, but they have 5 turnovers, 10 turnovers at the end of the third quarter. We see Coach Dave Wannstedt, who likes to force turnovers for the Chicago Bears.
The Bears.
But 7 points in 14 possessions. Amazingly, they're still only down 5 points.
Michael Jordan back on the floor just as Coach Collins called it. Jordan, 24 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 4 steals, 4 blocks.
More importantly, he energized this team in the fourth quarter. They went to him. He scored the first 6 points, and he gave them that feeling, we can win this game. He only sat 35 seconds.
6 on the shot clock. Now 2. Jordan's going to have to put it up.
Offensive foul on Michael. He wrapped him around.
Wow. Mike Mathis with that call. 5:18 to go in the game, and that's 4 fouls on Michael Jordan.
Watch the right arm. Does he hook with the right arm? Let's watch it. Right there. That was subtle.
Hardaway, trouble crossing the timeline.
Another turnover.
Punched away by Kukoc. Now, do they get it across in time?
I think it was over.
Yeah,
So
it was over, and the pass to Horace Grant, ill-timed by Shaquille O'Neal. Kukoc with the steal, and he's hauled down hard by Anderson at midcourt.
Boy, the Orlando has come unglued. They are trying to make passes that aren't there. The Bulls have picked up their defense. And, Bob, remember we talked about, I said the Bulls had to be very careful in the first part of this game not to use up so much energy that they didn't have it to finish. And what they've done, they've gone along, and as this game has picked up, they have increased their defensive intensity. You see Kukoc with the wraparound. He knocks it loose. Anderson picks it up. They go inside the post to Shaquille, who throws a tough pass. So now 6 turnovers and only 8 shots in this quarter.
Tony Kukoc scored 10 points in the first quarter, has only 4 since then, and the Bulls have built their biggest lead late here of 6 with 4:56 to go in the game. Hardaway is going to get a rest. He's had a nightmarish fourth quarter, and Brian Shaw comes in to give the floor leader and the leader for the Orlando Magic a brief rest. Bulls by 7. Chicago on an 8-0 run since trailing 92-91.
The Magic have to find some way to get the ball to where they can enter it into the post. The Bulls have just shoved them out of everything.
Grant's going to take that 17-footer. Not tonight. Kukoc with the rebound. And Ronnie Nunn is going to call a foul on Chicago.
You know what's very interesting? Shaquille O'Neal looked over to Jess Kersey, the referee, looking for a foul, and Jess Kersey shook his head and said, But Ronnie Nunn got the foul. So that's a big call right there.
And that's the 4th team foul on the Bulls, meaning they'll be sending Orlando to the line on their next team foul.
See, Will Perdue had him wrapped up. That was not a foul on Kukoc. I don't know how they called it out, but that was a foul on Will Perdue. Well, the Magic really need a score here, Bob. Big time.
Michael Jordan defending Dennis Scott. Shaquille pounds into the paint. It's a 5-point Bulls lead with 4:17 to go. Doug, what we need on Turner Sports are some closer playoff games.
I was going to say a couple overtimes the other night, running 3-point shots. Last night, a 1-point game. We see the game tonight in the balance. Both teams.
7 to shoot. Pippen off the glass. Bad miss. Nobody for the Bulls wanted to take the shot.
There's still a lot of time left in this game. Oh, I missed the layup. That's big.
Nick Anderson missed it. Michael Jordan got it. 3:47 to go. Bulls, 99-94. Which team, and Doug, you always mark this, scores 100 first, usually wins the game. It's 99-94.
Can they guard Michael Jordan now without fouling him? That will be the key.
4 to shoot. B.J. Armstrong knocks down the 3. Timeout, Orlando. Doug, this reminds me of Tony Kukoc's big 3 in Game 2 from the same spot.
Well, B.J. spotting up, Scotty finds him, and that shot gave the Bulls a 7-point lead on Sunday. Today it gives them an 8-point lead, and you can see what B.J.'s done here over the last 3 ball games. Big numbers. Look at his field goal attempts. He's becoming much more aggressive. And B.J. his whole career has hit big shots for the Bulls.
102-94 Chicago. 3:24 to go. If the Bulls hold on for a win, Game 7 in Orlando on Sunday on NBC.
I find it very interesting. Horace Grant is out of the game now, and also Hardaway is still out of the game.
Jeff Turner is in. Brian Shaw is in. Orlando with 3:22 to go.
Have the Magic said, we're not going to be able to win this game. We might as well rest Horace and think about taking our chances on Sunday.
Very possibly punched away by Luke Longley, who had just checked back in the game, carrying his 5 fouls. Armstrong!
Oh, same spot.
3 minutes to go. It's still not over.
The Magic are just going to look at this film and going to just kick themselves as the Bulls have picked up their defense. They've gotten totally out of sync.
Dennis Scott missing from the corner. Shaquille pounds it into the paint. He's been hitting that jump hook all night, and Shaquille playing well. He has 25 points, 2:41 to go. It's a 102-96 Chicago lead. It is far from over.
You know, when you teams pressure you,
the Knicks last night.
That's absolutely right. But when teams pressure you, Bob, your tendency is to go faster than you want to go. That's when you really have to take a deep breath and take your time. Tony got away with a walk there, shuffling his feet.
And turned the ball over. 2:18 to go. This is the way Orlando can get back in. Bulls with 2 possessions, nothing to show for it. 2:12 to go. 102-96 Orlando. Hardaway gets Kukoc in the air, hits the 3, and it's a 3-point Chicago lead with 2 minutes remaining.
And Michael Jordan is exhausted. He is exhausted.
You can see it. Nevertheless.
But you get him the ball, that tongue gets energized, doesn't it? Look at this.
Bulls finding trouble getting a shot off. Orlando playing very good defense down the stretch. 6 to shoot. Scottie Pippen tips in his own. He missed his tip in. A chance for Orlando to pull to within 1 or tie with 1:35 to go.
Bob, Orlando just will not go away. They will not. They had every chance to fold. They got a chance to steal this game once again.
Well, the Bulls have been unable to pull the trigger offensively. Brian Shaw all the way to the hoop, and the blocking foul will be called on Chicago's Scottie Pippen.
That's a good call. Scottie got in there late. This is a tough shot, Nick Anderson. You fake, you relocate, you get yourself together. And remember, Nick Anderson, the whole playoffs, has hit critical three-point shots. Scottie with a point-blank tip. Now, Brian Shaw, I think that after he shoots the first free throw, Phil likes to call a timeout.
Phoenix and Houston trying to avoid elimination at home against Phoenix, leading in the series 3-2 over on TNT. But you don't want to dial away from this, even though that game's on. You need 2 televisions. It's the only answer. We'll have the Braves-Rockies in its entirety right after this game. Brian Hill's wife suffering through this game. It is a 1-point Bulls lead. Orlando has reeled off 7 straight points.
Now watch Michael Jordan reversing underneath the basket. They like to run him like he's coming off a double, reverse him and post him up.
He just curls out this time. Tough shot by Michael. Air ball. A chance for Orlando to take the lead. I don't remember seeing Michael Jordan this tired.
He was exhausted. I saw him at about the 2-minute mark. Orlando, a chance to take the lead. This is unbelievable.
They've scored 7 straight. 8 seconds on the shot clock.
Let Anderson go against Kukoc. He can take him to the basket.
5.
Oh, my goodness. What a shot by Nick Anderson.
And it's a 1-point lead for Orlando, 103-102. They've scored 9 straight points. We have 42.8 to go in this game. Incredible comeback by the young Orlando Magic. Orlando has scored 9 straight points. You're looking at an exhausted Michael Jordan.
Michael with a spinning shot. Look at Nick Anderson right in his face. Forced him to shoot the air ball. And then Nick Anderson, what a shot to pull up, off balance, square up, and nail this little jump shot. He's got the last 5 points.
Brian Hill said his key word is business, business. Keep your poise, and you can see that his young team is reflecting his attitude. However, Mrs. Hill has a chance to get a little bit excited. Magic by 1, 103-102, 42.8 to go in the ball game.
Interesting that Horace Grant does not come in here for defensive purposes.
Grant, Hardaway is back in. Jordan, pull-up jumper inside to Longley. He missed the lay-in from Jordan. Can you believe it?
I thought he had a dunk.
7'2" Luke Longley missed the lay-in.
I think somebody got a piece of that shot, Bob. It looked like he had a dunk.
Phil Jackson has met him at mid-court and is following him back to the game, to the bench. Whatever the case, the 7'2" player should score this.
Watch this now. Looks like he's got a dunk, and he just leaves it short. He shot an air ball.
Amazing. amazing. 103-102 Orlando, now down to 29.8 seconds to go in the game. Orlando with the ball.
All right, now you're Brian Hill, okay? Do you take the ball out and use length of the floor, or do you roll dice and try to get it at half court? I think you use the whole court, so you got 94 feet to work with. The Bulls is a 5.8-second differential. It looked like maybe somebody got a piece of that. Brian Shaw on the way up looked like he might have got a piece of that, and smartly they called timeout so the Bulls cannot foul Shaquille O'Neal and put him on the line.
Brian Hill talking to his young Orlando team. You were talking to me at a commercial break a couple of minutes ago about the poise of this team. Horace Grant is on the bench. He has a dislocated finger. They had Penny Hardaway on the bench. And now, with both of them on the bench at that time, Orlando makes a 7-0 run. Hardaway gets back in here, and the Bulls are down 1. And you said this is a young team with character.
Bob, they have gotten my respect by the way they've handled situations. They might not win this game. They might not win this series. Who knows? But I will tell you, this team's got a lot of heart and a lot of character. And the Bulls right now are going to have to summon up everything they've got. The 5.8-second differential, as we see Longley again with the miss. And they do not have to foul. They do not have to foul. There's a 5.8-second difference. The Magic can really put the pressure on them if they can find a way to score. They're going to take the ball in at half court. This is very dangerous.
103-102 Orlando. 29.8 seconds remaining in the Bulls season unless they win.
Now, you don't want Shaquille O'Neal to catch the ball. Somebody's got to come to the open area.
Who's going to be?
Dennis Scott, and he gets fouled.
The Bulls personal foul, Michael Jordan.
Jordan picked up his 5th foul on that play. 1 second winds off the clock.
Now, you'd think Dennis Scott was a great free throw shooter, but you look come playoff time, Dennis Scott is 15 for 19, so he's at 79%. But during the regular season, he did not shoot them that well. I mean, he needs both of these.
The Braves and the Rockies baseball in its entirety coming up right after this telecast. Dennis Scott is 3 out of 3 from the line tonight. This is a 2-point Orlando lead. This is a huge free throw.
Big miss, sir. Big miss.
22nd timeout has been called by Chicago on the rebound. Down 2. 27.8 to go. That was a huge miss. You pointed out the fact that Dennis Scott is not a great free throw shooter.
Well, there's still so much time left. We have to keep our eye on the timeout because that really dictates what your strategy is. You know, can you get a quick 2 and call a time, or maybe get a foul, you know, extend the game to get through your timeouts become very, very important for you.
So we have a 2-point margin. Of course, that can spell overtime depending on what happens. That's what Chicago would be grateful for, probably. Orlando scored 10 straight points. Chicago went up 102 to 94. Chicago was held scoreless the last 2 minutes and 57 seconds, including that unbelievable air ball from underneath the hoop by the 7-foot 2-inch Luke Longley. Horace Grant remains on the bench for Orlando with his dislocated finger.
What the Magic doesn't want to do is give up a 3-point play going to the basket. A 2 ties you and you get the last possession. You don't want to give up a 3-point shot or a 3-point play going to the basket.
Going to the basket is Jordan. About 3 moves inside Longley. Turnover.
Just milk the clock right now.
They'll have to foul him with 12.8 to go, and Orlando up 2. Jordan with the penetration, no place to go with the ball.
He got hung in the air. This is something we've seen in Michael Jordan in the playoffs. They swarmed him. Watch Shaquille O'Neal come over on the spin, and he bothers Michael's shot. He has no place to go. Nick Anderson right in his face, and then the good rotation. Hardaway needs both of these free throws, though. He does not want to leave it on an odd point.
He's 3 for 3, 4 for 4 tonight, and it is a 3-point Orlando lead. This free throw gives them the magical, no pun intended, 4-point lead.
Makes it a 2-possession game. Didn't hit anything but the bottom of the net. You know, interestingly enough, the greatness of Michael Jordan, if the Bulls lose this series, people are going to talk about some of the mistakes he made at the Game 1, Game 3, and now in Game 6.
12.8 seconds to go. Orlando up 4. They may be feeling comfortable.
Yeah, but they better not, because with 12.8 seconds to go, you know the Bulls are probably going to attack the basket. You don't want to give them a three-point play, and you don't want to give them an easy two. Defend this play. The worst thing you do is maybe make them make 2 free throws. But you don't just want to give them an easy two. There's still too much time left.
Michael Jordan exhausted with about 2 minutes to go, Doug. You said it. Michael hit the wall, exhaustion.
I'm still really surprised that Horace Grant is not in the game. His finger really must be bothering him, because this guy's one of the premier defensive players in basketball. He took the tape off his finger when they were down 8, 102-94. I had cashed it in like it's game 7, and the Magic have scored the last 12 points. Will young legs prevail?
Well, apparently so at this point. 12.8 to go. The Bulls with the ball at half court. Mrs. Brian Hill not exactly relaxed.
She's comfortable.
This final 12.8. Pete Myers into the ball game for the Chicago Bulls.
Now, Pete Myers, interesting that he comes into the game, because you wouldn't expect him to be a shooter.
The open man is Armstrong. Big miss, rebound,
It's
and
over.
It's over right here. Here's the cherry on the sundae.
Shaquille should not have dunked that ball. You know what he should have done? He should have just dribbled out the clock.
It's all over, and the Bulls season comes to an end. Here at the United Center, in the Orlando Magic, the #1 team, the #1 seed in the East, gets the victory with 14 straight points to win 108-102. The Bulls had led 102-94.
Look at Horace. They're booing him up on the shoulders, Bob.
Horace Grant being carried off on the shoulders of his teammates. He played injured tonight with the dislocated finger, was not in for that run at the end of the ball game. But Penny Hardaway and the young Orlando Magic have come here to win in Chicago, and they will now move into the Eastern Conference Finals against either Indiana or New York, depending on the outcome of that series. Penny Hardaway, 21 points and 7 assists. As you see, a very happy Orlando team heading into the locker room. And we've got Penny Hardaway with us on the bench. And Penny, your team was down 102-94 and scored 14 straight points. You and Horace Grant at the beginning of that were even on the bench. Give us a feeling of what went on to get that comeback going.
Well, I think I wasn't feeling it there in the third and fourth quarter, really the entire second half. And he made a good coaching decision to bring Brian in. And Horace dislocated his middle finger again, and he had to sit out. So the team that was out there on the floor knew what they had to do, and they did it.
You know, Penny, it's amazing. When you look at your team, this young team, everybody talked about no poise. But all 4 games that were close, you guys won. 2 of them on the road. And now, if I'm not mistaken, this is 4 out of 5 road wins for you guys. A team that could not win it all on the road. What's the difference?
It's kind of funny. I think it's a do-or-die time for us right now. And we know if we lose, we're going home. And I think we're much hungrier right now. I think in the last month of the season, we were overlooking the season on the road, I guess, waiting to get to the playoffs. And now we're showing everybody that we can play on the road.
It looked like you guys were going to come unglued there. You guys started turning the ball over. And I've said all series long, you guys have gotten shaken, but you've never lost your poise. I mean, to win this game, 102-94 didn't look like it was going to happen at all.
Well, you're right. It was all, part of just getting together and guys coming to me, because I was the big part of turning the ball over there in the third and fourth quarter. And, the guys just told me to hang in there. We're going to get this one, and they did it for me.
Penny Hardaway, you've won 4 big games on the road in Boston in that first series, and now here in Chicago. You get a chance to rest a little bit, depending on what happens in the New York-Indiana series. We're not going to give you more than about it's been about a minute and a half here to enjoy this win, and we've got to look ahead already to New York and Indiana. Your feeling about moving with your team, you're 0-3 in the playoffs last year, moving into the conference finals.
Well, it was scary last night. We thought the Pacers was going to head and win that game, because Patrick came up with a big shot for them, and tonight we knew that we had to go ahead and take care of business if we wanted to get some rest, and hopefully that series goes 7 games.
Bob, this right here, this is a great player and a great kid.
Penny Hardaway, our Budweiser player of the game, and Craig Sager is with his running mate, Shaquille O'Neal.
Well, thank you, Bob. Shaq, we talked at the beginning of the game. You had the flu. You didn't think you were feeling real well. Lots of fluid. You came out here. This team showed they're the younger team. You scored the last 14 points.
But we know if we came in aggressive, played good defense, executed, especially in the third and fourth quarter, that we can come out here with a win. We beat them here twice already, so we were real confident coming in.
The hack-a-Shaq philosophy at the beginning of the series was taking its toll on you. What did you do mentally to make the adjustment to then become such an effective passer and to quickly get out of the double team?
I don't think it was taking a toll. I mean, they were fouling me. I was stepping to the line, hitting my shots. A couple of times they pre-rotated on defense, and I had trouble getting the ball to the open man. But we had one of our guys cut, and when Scottie Pippen rotated to Nick, Horace was wide open.
A year ago, Indiana wiped you out 3-0 first round. You want revenge against Indiana, or do you want to face New York?
I said last year, every time I step on the court as a basketball player, I want to improve every year. Last year we made it to the playoffs. We didn't win a game at all this year. We won the first round, we won the second round, so whoever we play, it really doesn't matter.
Well, from Shaq flew at the beginning of the game to Shaq flew at the end. Congratulations.
All right, see you.
That's the look on the face of the Chicago fans. Tears are being shed here at the United Center. When Michael Jordan returned, most people thought that the Chicago Bulls were going to go ahead and get into at least the finals in the Eastern Conference. Horace Grant, how sweet it is. Here's Ernie Johnson.
All right, thank you very much, Bob Neal. Into the strains of That's Life ringing through the United Center, they file out, having watched their Chicago Bulls eliminated from the playoffs 108-102 by the Orlando Magic in 6 games. And now Orlando goes on to meet either New York or Indiana. They'll play Game 6 tomorrow night on TNT. And against Indiana, the Magic 2-2 this year. Against the Knicks, the Magic 3-2. Right now on TNT, Western Conference action continues. Phoenix and Houston are in the 4th quarter, and the Rockets look like they're going to force a Game 7. About 4 minutes to play in that game on TNT. It's 107-94. The Rockets leading the Phoenix Suns. They're about to tie that thing up at 3. Later tonight on TNT, it is Game 6 of the San Antonio LA Lakers series from the Great Western Forum. The Spurs with a chance to close out the Lakers, but Nick Van Exel and the guys are going to have something to say about that. That's later on tonight on TNT. Once again, your final here on TBS. Orlando 108, Chicago 102. The Magic knocked out in the first round last year, advancing this year with Horace Grant, the former Bull, to the Eastern Conference Final. Back to the United Center to Bob and Doug right after this.